Welcome back to Deco Graphic Design Training. I believe we're doing great today. It's your boy Deco Graphic. Today, I want to show you how you can make a crossover flyer on your Android smartphone using your PixelLab as usual. So in this tutorial, there is a lot of things to learn. You are going to learn how to use your mask effectively on your PixelLab, and you are going to learn how you can combine. You're going to learn how to prepare font as well. So kindly stay tuned and relax. This is a top-notch flyer which you are going to learn a lot of things from, and you are going to learn what we call a blending. As we all know that there is nothing like a blending on PixelLab, but depend on how creative you are. Because in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how you can actually trick blending and it will work perfectly as a PS Touch, the way I normally show you guys, and how you can blend it exactly like a Photopea and Photoshop, exactly like that. Makes sense. So in this tutorial, at the end of the day, you are going to come up with how you can make a professional top-notch crossover flyer on your Android smartphone using your PixelLab. So without wasting much of our time, let's get started. So the first thing I want us to do right now is to set our background size. So the background size I'm going to use is 1280 by 1280. So after that, I have all the elements being prepared, as I said, so I'm going to import them one after the other. And the source of this element is a Pinterest. I use free pick as well, and then I use PNG Heck. So the font we are going to use, we call it Banger font. I'm going to use that. So those are the steps we are going to follow, and I'm going to use an horizon regular font as well. Then we are going to use a cabin font. These are the three fonts that we're going to pair here. So after that, all the elements we're going to use are not only one particular thing was imported here, which we are going to use along with the logo. So without wasting much of our time, let's get started. Having set our background size, then the next thing we're going to do is to click on three line dots, then access our gallery. So by accessing our gallery, we come here selecting the background. So this is the background I'm going to use. I got this background on Pinterest. You can search for background flyer there, most especially church flyer on Pinterest. You get varieties of it. So after getting that, then the next thing we're going to do is to just heading back to our gallery, then import this particular image. This was a full image, is a full image. Then I use an opacity behind the screen to present this, to reduce opacity so that the color can fade. It will be able to blend along with the background. So after that, the next thing we're going to do is to just open the layer, then have it lock. So after locking it, then the next thing we're going to do is to head into our gallery as usual. Then you bring the half of that image. You can see now it's the same images, but I crop this using a mask behind it just to cut a part. Then I apply what we call a stroke into it, so that the stroke I apply, the color I use, is blend together with the color of the background, so that at least it will not be able to, at least it will blend directly with the background. It won't stand aloof, and at the end of the day, it will not be noticeable based on the hierarchy. So after that, we have a lock. We go back to our gallery. Then we bring this particular church logo. You can use any church logo to represent this. If you receive a client, you have any client that want to make a crossover service flyer, you just request for their logo, not necessary to use this particular. And if they don't have a logo, it doesn't mean anything. You can go ahead with the flyer. So the owner of this logo, they are Only Church flyer, Only Church. So we have an Only Church. Only Church. Only Church. So the name of the church is Only Church. Then we are going to think of the font we are going to pair with this. So the font I'm thinking of pairing is called a Cabin. So we have a Cabin. Cabin is a family name font. Like for instance, if your surname is let's say your surname is Ezekiel. So not only you bearing Ezekiel, only if you are the only daughter or only son of your father, it means you can only be, even your father will still be bearing the same name. But if you are bearing Ezekiel, your brother your sister, your auntie, your uncle will still be bearing that Ezekiel. So cabin is a family font name that will have the varieties of it. You are quite different from your brother quite different from your sister. So we have this variety of fonts in different way, so which we can select anyone. So whenever, what I'm talking about is when you search for cabin, you can see this is a cabin medium italic. We have a cabin semi-bold, we have a cabin semi-bold italic, we have a cabin bold, we have a cabin italic, we have cabin regular. They are all cabin family, you understand, but their appearance and their look quite different. Based on the hierarchy, which you understand whenever you are making your own design, you should be able to know which one you should give an hierarchy to. And what we call an hierarchy in design is which one do you really accord important to? Which one do you really rated high among the text and your object? So the logo should be high, you should be given an hierarchy as well, but not as much as that, because it will have to use something that will make it noticeable. That is the essence of that. So now you position, follow the alignment properly. Alignments work in such a way that the starting point of each of these texts, since we have a two line being formed, it must be in line with the second line, so that at least it will be uniform. Once it's uniform, you follow what we call alignment principle. Okay, fine. After that has been done, then the next thing we're going to do, since we already set everything and we have everything locked at our hand, so we are going back to our gallery. We have this, which was formed behind the screen. So I'm going to position that here. After positioning it, we are going to form all the basis of our text on this particular zero design. So we have a crossover. So we will have CR. Since we have our O to be placed, so the next thing we want to do is that we can do it together, we can have it separately. So we have CR, then we use a font called a bagger. Bagger will be able to go along with that because of how it look and the characteristics they have. So we need to look at that as well. So after that, we have to increase the size to be able to meet the standard of this zero. Now, when you look at it, you see part of the text is already mixed, because we are able to zoom it out. So the next thing we are going to do at that level is to go to our padding. We have what we call a padding here. The padding allows us to show all the hidden text. And as you can see, I allow the padding to the left and the right for us to be able to see what we're working with. So after that has been done, we are going to position this here. Okay, cool, perfect. Then we are going to copy. Then we have what we call SS. Remember, the we have an autosave recover, so we should use the second one. So we are going to redo it. So whenever you have your PixelLab lagging like that, you just click on auto recover. So we have this. After that, go to your padding we are repeating the same process. Then after that, we are going to position that around here. Okay, so we can reduce the size a little bit. Okay, perfect. So after that, so that we will not repeat the same process, so applying a shadow to it, so reduce the opacity to be something like 11, then you click on plus sign, reduce this towards the back to the edge. So after that, we are going to reduce our radius to something like 5, then enable the offset y should be reduced, so that we have a drop down a shadow to 5. So if it is not really obvious, you can click on plus sign and you adjust a little bit. And when you look at it, it's somehow okay. So we can still heading back, because I want it to be more noticeable. So you increase the radius a bit, then let the opacity to be something like 30, and we increase this to be 6. So this is cool. We just need to copy this, then we have our XS. So after that, we have our SX to be here. Okay, perfect. Then we can make sure that everything is aligned. Turn on your grid, enable it, so that you use this as a kind of a ruler or demarcation, so that you will not be able to do the wrong thing. So after that has been done, then the next thing we're going to do is to just copy this. Then we have our over. So we have an over. So having an over have to be reduced a little bit, but we won't have 0 this time around since we have our 0 to be done like that. Okay, perfect. Then the next thing we're going to do after that, we can just a little bit rotate this or make it a slant a little bit. So we have something like this, doesn't slant. Okay, so it already slant. So what we're going to do is to just give a little bit breathing space into this. Then we change the color. We'll go to the color area. We'll have the color to be changed a little bit, just as this. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Then we send this to the back. Okay, cool. Then after that, the next thing we're going to do after that has been done, we are going to a little bit just trying to adjust. Then we have what we call a service. We have the service. So the service, we are going to choose a font here. So the font we are going to choose is called Horizon. Horizon regular, that is the font we are going to use. So after that, we are going to select an horizon regular. So after selecting that, we'll position it, we'll make it big a little bit. We'll make it big a little bit, and we have a position around there. Okay, perfect. So we allow this to enter a little bit. Then we'll position this around there. Okay, cool. Or we make sure that it will go beyond that. So we go back to our gallery. We have with which name are we? Let's see, Reverend Pius. Okay, cool. So the next thing you are going to do is to select the font we are going to use. So as usual, the font we are going to use, let's use a cabin. Use a cabin. So the cabin we are going to use is not going to be bold as that. So and we are going to position that. Then we change the color to make it look awesome. So increase the size a little bit to be able to have a breathing space around there. Then we change the color to something like a pink. So use something like pink or red. So could this be? So guess this is okay. So we have this. Then the next thing we're going to do is to just copy. Then after copy, we have our address. So we have 34. We have a 34 Garula Street. 24 Garula Streets. Jesse area, Lagos State. So we have our address to be written exactly as this. Then we change all the color to white. One thing I want us to understand is this about the color pairing or color selection. One thing is this: when you use yourself as an example, if you wear, as I wear a blue t-shirt, a blue shirt, what kind of a color can I put to be my trouser? So that one will determine. If you think of what you put, then look at it. When I put the same color as this, as a trouser, then my wristwatch, I put the same color, nothing, not touch of anything. Is it going to make sense? It can make sense when you look at it, but it's not really 100% perfect. You understand? But let us assume we place, this is a deep color, we place a lighter color at the background. You discover, look at the back, look at the back of my mount background. The background and the blue we're able to show. Why? Because the blue is deeper. Why? The background is somehow not deeper, somehow lighter. So you should be able, that is how we pair the color. You look at the color that can go along with other color. That is how we pair our own color. So after that, we look at this, then we have it being reduce the size. Then we use our relative position to position it to the center. So after that, we put in the phone number plus the website address. So we have our the phone number to be 07034660781. So we have slash. So we look at that. So we have we just put for info. Okay. Then we put the address. That's www.holychurch.com. Now this is done, then we'll position that around there. Then we'll position it to the center. But we are going to change this. Why? Because the hierarchy needs to be maintained. So we need to change it. Looking at the cabin that is not really bold, since they are family. So we look at the cabin that is not really bold. If we are able to see one. So look at this. If we didn't see it, which means okay, fine, perfect. So when we look at it, this one is somehow bold than the second one. Okay, perfect. Okay, cool. Then the next thing we're going to do, we're almost done anyway. So the next thing we're going to do is to just go here. Then we have this particular shape. Sorry, we have this particular shape. What we're going to put in, we're going to put in the numbers, so, and the dates. So we have that is 24, I mean 29, sorry. We have 29th of December. So we have 29th of December. So we are going to just reduce the size for this. We are going to use it to make sense anyway. So reducing the size for that, then we thought of something to use to place and position this, since we already maintain the hierarchy. So I'm thinking of changing the font first. So after changing the font, then we are able to look at the color that can go along with it. Remember, look at the white background I just placed right now. So the white background, what kind of a color can we use for that text so that the white background will be able to blend? And another example is this. The reason for this is not far-fetched. When you look at the white, it's somehow lighter. Can you place a light background like white on top of white? It will disappear. You won't see anything there. So you need to think of a color that will be deeper than white, place it on top of it that will make sense and will actually enable the text to be visible and to be readable. Because what is the essence of putting a write-up? Communicating in a visual way. Then when you are communicating, it's not well understandable, not well readable. So it means you are just you are communicating to yourself. You are not communicating to people. So a graphic designer needs to note that. Another thing I want you to take note of is what do they call it? Is error. We have what we call an error that normally occur whenever you are making your own design. The error is we call it concealment of truth. At time, concealment of truth at time normally occur to a designer. And concealment of truth in the sense that the information you are trying to unveil to people wasn't passed across, was just unveiled to yourself. So what you are trying to pass, information you are trying to pass to your audience, trying to pass to people outside there to advertise or making a kind of awareness on a particular design. The information you are trying to conceal, you discover that you are unable to do that. Then at the end of the day, you are communicating to yourself. So what you are saying, what you are writing is unreadable. You're the only one who was able to read it. You need to avoid that. Use a clear text, and that's why you see some clients will be telling you this thing is too tiny. Can you read it? Put yourself in the shoe of a designer. Can you do this? Can you do that? Then when you are able to provide an answer to that, when you make a good design, your mind can tell you. You too can see that, okay, I'm able to make a good design and this is captivating. So we need to pay attention to that. So we kind of, let's change our font first. So after changing the font, then we think about, so I'm thinking of looking at the kind of a color we want to use. So take it for instance, we can use this, or we change the color of the background to something like deeper, just as perfect as this. And if this doesn't work, then we can just put a finishing touch there, because that will be a kind of a color riot. We look at this, but if none work, there is a way we can just do it. We just have our data and everything around there. Then the next thing we're going to do, just after that, we have our we have December. Then we increase the size a little bit. Perfect. Then after that, we copy. Then after copy, we think about the time they are going to have. Since it's a crossover, let it be 9 p.m. Use your relative position very faster to move the text. Then after that, we are going to position this, follow the alignment, let it be aligned. Alignment means where each of those text started should be along with each other. Then you make sure that these are rhyme in terms of the where they start. So we're going to bring this, close it a little bit. So after closing it, then you can bring it and move this one towards it. Okay, perfect. So after that has been done, then you can look at it. We are making sense. Then you change all the color. It's just as perfect as that. Change out the color. You have to change this as well to white. So very good. Then after that, we are going to look at so we don't need to put anything here. So let's say 19th December. So we have this 19th December. Only December should have something like point. So then we go in here by going to the shape. Your opacity should be reduced. Then you increase your shadow, stroke to be something like 3 or 2. Then you go to the color, change the color to white as well. So after that, you are going to crop it just exactly as this. So after that has been done, we have all our pages, and which is very, very cool. So we can add in some things to make it more presentable, or more adding a finishing touch to that. So we have this, position it to the center, then you move it directly, let it be at the bottom of this. Cool. Then change the color to something like this. Perfect. Okay, perfect. So the next thing we are going to do after having that, you can see categorically that we are able to put a kind of a finishing touch to that. But something like service should be adding. We need to add a shadow into that. So adding a shadow a little bit, you can copy from the one we did before. Reduce your opacity to something like 5, and you enable your offset Y to whatever you actually wanted. But just be looking at the result in what you are applying the shadow for. The text you are trying to apply the shadow to. Then when you are pleased with whatever you are applying, you can state it categorically that everything is actually plumb. And this is just a simple trick on how you can come up with crossover flyer on your Android smartphone using your PixelLab. I believe that you learned something from here. This is on how you can present a professional flyer on your Android smartphone using your PixelLab. And I believe we'll learn something from here. If this video is helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you are new to my channel. And if you are my follower, if you're my subscriber, don't forget to turn on the bell icon so that you can be notified whenever I update my channel with amazing video like this. And don't forget to share, like, and comment if this is helpful. Your comments, your likeness, your share, your subscribe will keep me encouraged to provide more, to produce more. Thanks for watching once again. This is Deco Graphics. God bless you.